Awesome. It is focused, and hopefully the quality is pretty good. I am doing 1.4 again, so that's what I'm gonna do for right now. In the foreseeable future, I always seem to like fix my hair once I press recording instead of beforehand, but hopefully it's not too like hazy or out of focus. But let's just get right into the video. So, cool. I'm ready now. I should have been ready before, but oh well. I am going to be talking about random stuff today. I'm titling this video Random Monday Musings. It was originally going to be Random Tuesday Musings, but I filmed my videos and post them on Monday. I don't film them on Monday, but I post them on Monday, so Random Monday Musings is what we're going for. So I am just gonna start talking about some random stuff. First thing that came to mind is bees. If you don't know anything about bees, you need to go watch some bee videos because they're pretty freaking awesome, and I could ramble on and on about them forever, but I'll just give you some little tidbit facts. So what's so cool about bees is that they communicate with one another by dancing, which is super cute. And then if a beehive is swarming, it's because those bees were kicked out of the hive, the queen was kicked out, and those bees follow, and then they're swarming trying to figure out where they're gonna go. So it's actually the perfect time to rehome and capture bees because they're not as protective over their hive and the honey and the queen. And so that is a great time, and you can pick out the queen and put her in like this little cage and put it in like the beehive box that you want to use. And then once she's in that box in the cage, so she doesn't like move and fly away, all the bees just start marching in and following her. So that is super cool. And I love that fact about them. What's also fascinating is that if a beehive loses its queen and needs to be re-queened, you have to make sure that it's the right fit, because if the bees do not like and want to accept the queen, they will kill her. They're all just like kind of like tackle on her and try to kill her. So if you have like an aggressive hive and a docile queen, and the docile queen comes in, they're not going to accept her. Another fun fact is that the queen sets the tone of the hive. So if you have a docile queen, you'll have a docile hive, which will be really nice because the bees will be easy to be around. And if you have a very aggressive queen, then you'll have an aggressive hive, and you may have to put them down. And if you want to put them down and euthanize them, you seal off the hive. And I'm not talking about like a traditional like hive, but like a box. You seal it off so they can't get out. And you do that usually at night when they're like all back in the hive, hopefully, and sleeping. And then you pour water with soap. And so the soapy water is what euthanizes them, and it's great because it's not like toxic chemicals. And yeah, so those are some fun bee facts, and it's really fun watching these videos because the guys that go in, they don't wear protective gear, they just go in with their hand, they know what they're doing, they're experts at it, and it's so impressive and fascinating to watch. So I did that a lot back in like April, and I also watched a lot of killer whale videos back in March before this, and so learned about killer whales and all of that, watched a lot of like captivity stuff, and I just think it's really fascinating because they will come as a pod and try to attack a big blue whale. And so blue whales are huge, they're so big, but killer whales are, the orcas are just very aggressive, and so the only chance for a blue whale to survive is if it outswims them, if it has really good endurance. But what usually happens is that they come alongside the blue whale and they like box them in, and they're swimming like all around the whale, and then sometimes they'll go in for a bite. And then that obviously slows down the blue whale. And so usually the blue whales don't survive, which really sucks because they're so big and so beautiful and so kind. But the killer whales are just very aggressive. So that's just fascinating. I probably learned a lot more about them, but honestly forgot a lot about the killer whales because I was so fascinated with the bees after that, and my brain can only hold so much information. But it was also cool to like look at the different orcas that were held in captivity by SeaWorld and stuff. I forgot what one of them was called. I'm not really good with names, but there was one of them that was captured in Iceland when he was a baby, and then he had a couple of attacks or encounters with humans, however you want to call it, where the humans got injured, but he was still like being used for SeaWorld and stuff. And he was the one that eventually killed the girl. I don't know the girl's name either, but they weren't allowed in the water with this orca. I should know the name, but I don't. Oh, Tico, something that started with a T. Anywho, so they weren't allowed in the water, but she got a little bit too close, and then I think it was her hair that he like yanked in, and then was like throwing her around. And so, depending on who you talk to, there's different like opinions on stuff. Some people will say that they think that they're playing with the human is like a toy, and it's just like they don't mean to, but they're just playing. And then some people will be like, no, those animals know what they're doing, and they're trying to kill their captor because they're held in captivity, and they're like, I want to kill this person. Bad word. And so it's just interesting to see like both sides of it. And you know, a lot of people want SeaWorld to not exist or other places like it. And obviously they have their opinions and other people have their opinions, and it's very controversial. And I think what's interesting is the person, I think it's in France, there was a documentary. I don't know if it was the Free Willy one or if a different one. I think it was a different, Free Willy's a movie. Sorry, I mean Blackfish, I think is what it's called. I think it was the Blackfish documentary or a different one, but they were interviewing some people in France, kind of like the SeaWorld of France. And so, they were talking about how it's not really fair because I think they're not allowed to breed, and so I think SeaWorld has the monopoly on breeding, I'm pretty sure, or some place does. And so they're kind of held at the mercy of this other company, and so they can't breed, and so they're like, we're going to lose our this is what it is. I totally remember now. I'm so sorry. So they're not allowed to catch and capture. That's what I think it was. They're not allowed to capture orcas in the wild anymore, so they only have the breeding pool of captive orcas. And then they only have, I think, like 3 orcas, and the SeaWorld has like 20 or something like that. But then I think SeaWorld even said that they're not going to be breeding anymore and just letting them like die out because SeaWorld's gotten like a ton of backlash. But then they're saying how that's not fair because then they're gonna die out because SeaWorld's not breeding with them and things like that. So I just find it so fascinating because the whole breeding thing is just fascinating in general. Looking at different species, my friend owns horses, and she actually is trying to breed Cerbat Spanish Mustangs, and there's only like 6 left in existence of 100% Cerbat. And so she's having to deal with the whole breeding nightmare of like not having a huge gene pool and then dealing with difficult people and working, and just I think breeding programs are so fascinating and they have so many intricate details to them. And so it was really interesting talking to my friend, and now it's like connecting the dots with like this orca thing that I was watching like many moons ago. And so yeah, it's definitely very fascinating, just all the egos that involved and all the politics of breeding and just all the ins and outs and logistics of it is really complicated and very dramatic, and can be very time consuming and emotionally taxing because you're trying to do something that you're really passionate about, but maybe other people aren't and they don't understand, and there's all this like paperwork and all of the things that you have to do to make sure that you do it right, and you're only working with a small gene pool. And so anywho, little horse rants right there about the Cerbat Spanish Mustangs that are not really in existence almost anymore. There's like only 6 left, so she's really trying to like breed them and repopulate the species of horses because they're dying out. And so that's just fascinating. And other things, I don't know, this kind of being like an animal video, I guess you could say. So maybe I will title it something different. I knew this was going to happen. I was like, what do I even have to talk about that's random? And like actually make it a random topic and not just like zone in on something. So I guess we're going to be talking about animals. What's also fascinating is there's English golden retrievers and American golden retrievers, and the English ones have like a shorter nose. And I think a little bit of a boxier face, they were saying, where the Americans have like a longer nose. So that's really fascinating. Just to see like the difference of, it's the same golden retriever lineage, but even they have like differences. And apparently, English golden retrievers are getting a little bit more popular when the standard always used to be like American golden retrievers. So that's kind of fascinating. And golden retrievers in general, I just love. I had a golden retriever growing up. Anytime I see a golden retriever, I'm like, I need to pet your dog. Okay, I need to. I love them so much, and I want golden retrievers, and I want to breed golden retrievers. So it's just really fascinating, like, how I'm like connecting all these random topics from bees to orcas to horses to golden retrievers. Like, I want to breed golden retrievers, and that would be so fun. And so it's good to like learn about breeding programs and how to do it and the right way and the wrong way and all of that stuff. So yeah, I would love to have a red golden retriever and a white golden retriever and then breed them. And then like, I would love to do that. It would be really hard to get rid of the litter. I would be so particular with who I give them to, because there's so many dog things that I do not agree with. Like, so many dog practices I'm just like not about. And I know people get really weird with animals, like with their pets, and like what's the right way and what's the wrong way, but I definitely have opinions. I already made a video on vaccines, and I know people are like gung-ho about getting their dogs vaccinated and all this stuff, because people don't even question human vaccines, so there's no way they're going to question dog vaccines when dogs can't even talk or speak up for themselves, but are dealing with so many side effects just like humans are. So definitely want to vaccinate the dogs. I also have a friend who worked in a veterinary clinic for like 10 years or something crazy like that, and she's told me a lot of stories about all the shady stuff that vets do and just like the heartbreaking stuff. Anywho, so yeah, definitely want to vaccinate the dogs, and I would want that to be in like a contract with the people that I give my dogs to. No vaccines. So anywho, that's why it would be really, really complicated. I don't know fully how I feel about crate training. I've never been a huge fan of it. Still think I'm not a fan of it. So that I think would be a stipulation. And so one, I don't know how many people would want to buy a dog from me that like is so countercultural to like a lot of the norms in society. I would also want them to be on like a certain diet. So yeah, it would just be, I would have to choose my people wisely and like have a contract and be really strict and have really high standards with that. So that would be the hard part about breeding, is like giving my cute little precious puppies away. I also am pretty like, I just think it's so sad that animals get torn away from their families after like 6 weeks. So I would also want like an open adoption, LOL, where the dogs would get to be and get to see each other. Like, you should be able to see your sibling and your mom and dad as a dog. Like, why don't people care about that? I don't understand. Like, that just breaks my heart. Which is why it would be hard for my dog to have the litter, and again, like, to get rid of them. So I would want them to like have frequent contact with each other. Obviously, if they move away, like, we can't do anything about that. But I also don't know how I feel about getting dogs neutered anymore either. I feel like that is like pretty borderline animal abuse. I think people do it for their convenience versus like the well-being of the actual dog, and like they don't want to deal with a dog that's not neutered because they have like a certain personality and like want to hump everything. But to me, I'm like, you're just being a selfish dog owner, you know, like you're mutilating the dog for your convenience. So I just have a lot of controversial things that most people do not agree with. So that would be really hard. And then I would want to keep breeding, and obviously you don't want to like inbreed, so I would have to get like another dog to breed again. So yeah, there we go. All the random topics. I don't really know what else to say about animals. I guess I could talk about bears really quickly. I hate when people come into REI and buy bear spray. It like literally breaks my heart, because it's like, you're going out in nature. You're choosing to go out in nature. That's like buying lion spray when you go to Africa on a safari. Like, who do you think you are? You are choosing to go into their territory. I don't know, to me it's like killing bugs outside. Like, I am not gonna kill a bug outside. It's outside. This is its territory. But if a bug comes in my home, then I'm gonna kill the bug. That's how I feel about bears. If a bear is walking through my backyard or like trying to come in my house or car, then like, dude, you're dead. But if you're just like out in the wild trying to mind your own business, live your life and get food and like do your own thing, then it's my fault if I get attacked. If I do something stupid to make you attack me, that's my bad, not yours. So I hate when people buy bear spray. It literally breaks my heart because I'm just like, you know, it's the people that never go out into the wild and are just like, just getting it. It's like buying pepper spray. Like, I've never been like, I just want to carry pepper spray. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like, I don't know. Maybe pepper spray makes a little bit more sense than bear spray. But national parks, like Yosemite, I don't even think allow it. And they even like have to have signs like, is your picture worth a bear's life? Because if a bear, like, if you get too close to a bear to take a picture and then the bear gets spooked and like tries to attack you, then they have to put down the bear. And I'm like, no, that was your fault. Like, you're in its territory. This is the wild. Like, you should be put down. Like, I'm not a crazy animals activist person that thinks animals are the same as humans. Not at all. Like, not at all. I love animals so much, but I'm not a vegetarian, and only my makeup is vegan, because it's like just good overall. But anywho, that's my bear rants. Bears are awesome. I love seeing them. Animals are so cool. Like, they're so chill. They're chill. They're very chill. I heard grizzlies are a little bit more aggressive. Makes sense. They're called grizzlies. But overall, like, animals just are trying to live their life like you are. Yeah, like, most of the time they don't want to attack you. So, anywho, there's my rant on that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say. I think that's it. I've been rambling for a while. So there's my animal video, I guess you could say. I could talk about other animals in the future, but we talked about bears, horses, bees, orcas, and golden retrievers. So I think 6 is a great amount, but I like 7 as a number. So we'll just throw in, what do I want to throw in? We will throw in caterpillars and butterflies really quick. So, I almost want to change it to ants. We're going to talk about ants instead. Because the ants here in California are like itty bitty. They're like a little speck. You can't even see the ants. But my house had, when I was growing up, probably like middle school, I think, had ant problems. Like, the ants found a way inside my home twice. And I was traumatized because I found them just like crawling everywhere. And oh my gosh, so gross. So the ants here are really tiny, and there's just like thousands of them, and they just come in and they just find everything. Well, the ants in Maine are big. Like, you can see the body very clearly. They're big, but there's not like thousands of them, and they'll come in the house, and so we have ant traps, but they're not like super big, except for carpenter ants. Have you seen those things? They literally look like wasps or something. They're so big. There was carpenter ants all over our porch last summer. Just like so many, just crawling up on the screen. They can fly. Did you know ants can fly? They're huge. They're like this big. Should not be legal. Why did God create them is my question on a lot of insects, like wasps. Bees, love bees. I talked to you about bees. Manuka honey, beautiful. Medicinal Manuka honey, amazing. Honey can help your allergies if you buy local honey. It has healing properties. So wonderful. Thank you, God, for that. Wasps, one, they don't die when they sting you, and they don't make honey. So sure, they pollinate, but that's all they're good for. We could just live with bees. Honeybees, like, why can't we just have honeybees? Amazing. Also, 5G is killing the honeybees. and that really sucks. And just our environment in general is just killing bees. So against that. Anywho, there we go. Talked about ants. 7. Talked about 7 animal, insect, creature topics. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe next time it will be a topic that you're more interested, that's not just like me rambling about random stuff. So, see you next time, and I'm gonna get up now. So yeah, animals are cool, God's creation is cool, and I love it.